relax. We've done our part. But like, no. That's just the entrance exams. Like, this is a real school. Like, you gotta like get good grades. And she's just
Yeah.
like, what do you expect? Like, what do you like? Did you think that like there was gonna be no more work after that? Like, and it's
Yeah.
not even like she's putting forth effort and it's just not enough. No, she's just like straight up not paying
No, she's
attention
not
in
even
class.
trying. She's not
Yeah.
trying at all. She's falling asleep in class and doodling all day. And I'm just like, and that's why I find this part a little bit incredulous because we're getting to the point where she goes nuts and triggers, the loop again, and she's like crazy. This seems like a lot of a leap for her to go to become crazy. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm struggling to school. Now, the teacher was oddly cryptically like, I don't care. Like, I don't care if you fail, but if you're failing, you're going to come with me right now and we're going to withdraw you from classes and you're going to do it willingly. Like, that
I mean,
was
honestly,
gold stuff right there.
but I mean, that's how it's got to be, though. She made it clear, like, hey, you're not a prisoner here. We're not holding you captive. Like, if you don't want to be here, like, you can go. Like, this is a prestigious school. Like, they're like, everyone's here by choice. Like, if you literally don't want to do the work, then don't do it. Just not don't waste our time.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
I
here's
can
the
respect
door.
that. I can respect that. And the thing is, like, Sadako, the whole episode is like, Sadako is mad that like she has to like go to like remedial classes. And she can't spend time with Rika, and she's on the verge of failing. And I'm like, but the thing is, like, all this was 100% fair, though. It's like if the school was like, oh, only the elites get special treatment, then I'd be like, okay, maybe you're right to not be super keen on this school. But it's like, no, people that get results, they get special treatment. People that
It's
don't,
true.
they gotta
It's
work harder. And I'm like, this is perfectly normal. You have no reason to be mad.
Well, and I feel like it feels extreme for Sadako. Like to
Yeah.
trigger this horrific experience over and over and over again and to get to that point because I went to a school and my friend isn't paying enough attention to me and I don't like to study, so I'm gonna fail. Like, come on. Like
Rika even offered to help her. Like,
I know. Just grow a pair or something. I don't know, man. Just come on. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah.
But
So
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting back to where we dropped off with I'm gonna give you the box with a teddy bear instead of a punch in the face. And yeah, I'm ready for that. Because that was a rather
yeah,
abrupt
I think we're
stop
close to
there.
that. I think we're close to that.
I think so
Um,
too. I think so too. Uh
but yeah.
but yeah, this yeah, okay. Oh, Heaven's Design Team. Every time the week comes around and Heaven's Design Team comes on, and I'm like, okay, it feels like a one joke show. And then they surprise me by doing something really different than they did the week before. And then I'm like, all right. Like, I can't say that this is like, in the tops of my season, but it's always pleasant. Like, I look
Yeah.
forward to it because it's different enough that it's always pleasant.
Yeah, the show isn't like a big commitment. Like, it's you don't have to really like pay super attention to a plot, or like, oh, there's backstabbing, or there's like this oh, these chess pieces moving. It's just like,
It's like
no,
the
no, we're
opposite
just
of
making
Log
some
Horizon.
animals.
It's the
Yeah.
anti-Log Horizon.
It's like, no, we're just making some animals, whatever. Watch at your own leisure. Like, we're just having fun over here.
Yeah,
And you
I
learn a
appreciate
lot. You learn a lot.
I definitely appreciate that she made all of the sharks while they're all drunk. Okay?
Yeah, like she was like, hey,
A hammerhead
let's give this
shark.
shark a hammer. Oh, let's give this shark a saw.
A saw chainsaw.
She's like, nah, we're just having fun over here.
Oh, I appreciate that the
And
one
God was like,
guy
nope, accept it.
I like the one guy made the alien from Aliens and then suggested that he ate it at the end, brought it into the hot springs with them to like sit down and chill. And then at the end, it's like, is that the alien in that pot right there that we're eating? I definitely relate to the guy who would eat every animal the most of all of the people in this
Oh my
show because
God.
I also am on a quest to eat like every animal. But yeah. I actually watched a YouTube video about the place that you can go in Aonori province in northern Japan where you can eat bears yesterday.
You can
And
eat bears?
yeah,
Oh
that's
my
what I was
God.
doing while we were playing board games on chat. Is I was definitely watching these YouTube videos about this guy eating bear. It's ever since Food Wars taught me that you can eat bear in parts of Japan. Now it's a thing.
That
It's a
is
thing.
your new life goal. Your new life goal.
It is.
One cool thing about this one is that we learned some interesting facts about flamingos.
We did it.
Like, now we know, like, it teaches you why flamingos are pink, but more importantly, it teaches you that why the milk that they produce is red, and it true like in the anime, I thought they were like laying it on just a little bit about how much their milk looks like blood. I went to go watch a YouTube video, and it's horrifying. It's
Yeah,
actually
it does.
horrifying. It's like,
It does.
what is what is this? So the show is really accurate.
So you're on the left. The bears do carry a lot of parasites, depending on where they're from. It depends on their diet. Their diet determines how many parasites that they have. So a lot of the places where they actually serve bear, it's not like they're going out into random woods and shooting them. It's that the bears from this area eat these types of things. Like in Aonori, apparently they eat a lot of apples because there's a lot of apples there. Like they're known for that. So it does. You can get parasites from bears. So you got to be careful. I do appreciate that there was a Sharknado in this episode too.
Yeah, there was. There was.
And
they definitely knew they were doing. That definitely was not an accident.
Oh no, absolutely not. So, but my favorite thing about this episode is that the people, like, or the angels and whatever in this whole thing, crafted 2 giant resort destinations in like a day, like 2 of them. That's talent right there. Absolute
they're literally
talent.
making animals from scratch. So it's like,
I'm just saying, I'm impressed. I'm thoroughly impressed.
Okay.
I'm just saying. But, whatever. I really like this show. I look forward to next week. I love fun animal facts. I love sharks. They're delightful. And I love all the sharks we got. So, can't wait for more.
Yeah, I'm pretty content with this show, too. I'm definitely planning on watching it all the way.
Me too. So, on the opposite side, aka a complete and utter downer, is
yeah, our 2 educational shows. Man, so I was gonna say this week's episode was brought to you by the letters E for exercise and D for dehydration. It's like they really do lay it on thick as like, please take care of yourself. Like,
oh my god,
so,
this poor guy. All right, like,
I think this man is actually trying to kill himself at this point because, like,
well, the liver lady's got cirrhosis, so the liver lady has like consumption. She's like coughing like she's got tuberculosis and like blood coming out of her mouth at the beginning, and I'm like, oh my god.
Like, this guy, like, you've been saying it for the last like whole month that we've been doing this, how many like diseases and problems this guy is going through. But now it's like, it's always been the case, but now it's like really like stop drinking, stop smoking. Why are you laying in bed for 2 days just drinking nonstop?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, are you literally trying to kill yourself at this point?
It's such a thing, and people don't think about things like deep vein thrombosis, but that's like super duper common as you get older, right? Like the idea that you get to a point where if you sit down for a really long period of time, you can get a blood clot and it will go to like your brain and you'll have a stroke, or it'll go to your heart and you have a heart attack. Like, that's a real thing.
Actually, is this the first time where the guy's life was truly in danger? Like, he's always been like in serious medical condition, but he literally almost died. He literally almost choked to death in this one.
Yeah, because they cut off supply of oxygen to the lungs, and they went through the bronchial tubes or whatever, bronchial arteries or something on the sides.
Like, man, this guy, it's really rough. It's really rough, man. And so there was the blood clot. The blood clot gobbled up the 2 bullies from like the previous episode. Are they dead?
I think they're dead. They're in the blood clot.
That's a good
they're
thing,
dead,
though.
man. They're dead. They're red blood cells. In reality, their red blood cells wouldn't even last that long, because they were replenishing, and all of these people would be dead if this were like real body timeline.
That's true, but if those 2 guys don't come back, I'll be very satisfied.
I need to know. So like white blood cells walking around, and like there are no other white blood cells. There's only a couple of things that reduce your white blood cells, and one of them is like leukemia. Does this person have leukemia now?
That's like that's a terrible turn. Like, holy. Maybe
like, if you have low white blood cells, those are serious diseases. Like that cause it's things that make you immunocompromised is exactly what it is, because you don't have white blood cells to fight off infection. So like that, immunocompromised diseases are incredibly serious. So I don't
I mean,
know. Maybe
if that's the
those
case,
bodies
then it
are
really is just going to go further downhill because that's not a problem by itself. That's a problem that leads to like severe other problems. So it's like
Oh yeah. Hey, that's how we're doing the rest of the season. Apparently, is severe problems left and
severe
right.
problem.
But I mean, the show is continually a morality tale. You're supposed to. It almost feels too on the nose to me as a morality tale. You're supposed to identify with the main red blood cell guy, and he's a hard worker, and he always cares about people. And I'm like, all right, that's a
Yeah.
little saccharine for me, but okay, all
I think you're
right.
supposed to identify with the red blood cell, and the human. Like you're supposed to identify with the human because all the choices that you know are bad, like, and you do anyway. You're supposed to be like, you know what? Okay, maybe I am going to drink some extra water today. Or and then the blood cell is supposed to be like your
Maybe I'll
workplace. Like,
cut
man, I
down
really do hate
caffeine
my
and
boss. You
alcohol.
know.
Hey, have you improved your diet since we've been watching the show because you're
I mean,
paranoid about your body?
I've been drinking more water, so that's good.
That's fair. That's fair. I cut out. I stopped drinking tea temporarily to see if caffeine had that much effect on me, but not really because of the show, just because I was curious. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Quintuplets.
Quintuplet show.
Okay,
I
so
can't
this show is just like
this.
It's unfortunate you're starting on season 2, but season 1 was better. Like season 2, I still don't think season 2 is terrible, but it's not great. But I mean, season 1 was better in the defense of the show.
Okay, tropes ahoy.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So the chocolate thing is just a dumb anime trope that happens so much. This show juxtaposition with Horimiya, it makes it so much more evident how much better Horimiya is treating this kind of stuff in a lot of ways in this show.
I mean,
Because if
yeah.
you think about it, there's no, oh, I'm so embarrassed all the time. You saw I'm in love with you secretly, and I'm just gonna play it off, and you know, there's none of that kind of crap in Horny. There's still embarrassment stuff, but usually it involves like her dad and things. They're pretty open about their feelings, whereas this show, oh my god, this show.
Yeah, it's a little. So a few things here. A few things that are weird. It's weird that they make the main character so like of course he's the oblivious male main character that never knows that literally 5 girls are in love with him, right? So
Yeah.
that's the timeless trope. But it's a little weird for this one because the show starts off showing you him getting married to one of these girls. Like we know off the bat that he's going to fall in love with one of these girls and marry them. But even at this point, he still shows literally zero interest in any of them romantically.
Yeah.
And so it's a little weird that we're progressing this far in, and he doesn't not only suspect he doesn't suspect anymore that one of them is Reina, because Reina showed up, and he's just so fooled by one of them dressing up as Reina that I guess that just alleviated all the suspicion he had of them before. But it's a little weird that it's not actually romance right now.
Yeah. I still think that scene was
Yeah.
very creepy from a couple episodes ago where one of them dressed up like his fantasy girl. That was disturbing. But
Yeah.
this episode had like this weird Valentine's crap. I also feel like this show is not segmented very well. Like they're taking pieces of the manga, but the manga is not written in a way to facilitate clean episode cuts. So it feels like you've got a really small episode and then like another episode and then like another episode in everyone. And this has been a common problem in a lot of these.
Yeah, I feel you because I remember last week there was a point where we were talking about one of the plot points, and it was like, wait, did that really happen this episode? Because there were so many other things that happened that was like, oh yeah, that happened too. So it does feel like that the direction of the show isn't as great as it could be, but that could be a little bit more tied into how the manga was written.
I don't have a problem with Miku losing to Ichika because number one girl is my favorite still, so I like her.
But Miku is putting in so much work. She's putting in the most work. She's the most upfront with her feelings. Like she's a go-getter girl. Go get them.
Let's back way up off of that for a second.
Okay.
A lot of work. wait. Miku put in a lot of work, but Miku also confessed to Ichika, and Ichika is taking a step back for Miku, specifically, even though she has feelings for main character guy. And she wanted to make sure that main character guy got them all up to snuff, so she also put in a ton of work in addition to being the sole breadwinner for their now independent family, okay?
Okay.
Come at me
I'm
again
not
with the
saying I'm
Miku
not saying
question.
Ichika. Ichika
Come
is
at
not
me.
a bad pick. Ichika is not a bad pick. I'm just saying that Miku is always like either number one or number two of every episode. Miku is always there, like there to support him whenever he like can't get to like the girls in line. She's always the sister that's like, hey, let's give him a break, or she always follows around town in order to help him out whenever he's like looking for somebody or something. So Miku, it just gets me so mad that Miku is just constantly being set up as the girl that's always going to lose. Like she's always childhood best friend type character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
I won't be mad if
I
Ichika
also,
wins. Ichika is a decent pick.
yeah, I'm just saying, I'm Team Ichika. And you put in our notes, and I was confused because I don't understand why he didn't discover sooner which girl was better at which subject. And you're like, he knew that, but I don't understand why he wasn't using that before to help them help each other. Because you can't
Yeah,
use groupthink
that
here, you know.
that is a little weird. But I mean, maybe in his defense, like the girls had their strength, but even their strengths weren't like passing grades. So like, I guess it kind of does make a little sense that he would not have, I don't know, a D student or C minus student become his co-tutor. I don't know, but I mean, he should have. So
I just think
it's
he's
a
a
plot
bad
point.
tutor. I've thought that this entire show. I think he's a bad tutor. You can say what you want about him as a person and how he helps the
Honestly,
girls
he
and stuff like
is.
that, but I think he's a bad tutor.
Yeah, honestly, he is a pretty bad tutor. I think it's his I guess saving grace characteristic is he will put in the work, like he will like constantly show up and he won't give up on them. But overall, his methods aren't like he literally just prints out study guides. Like he doesn't
Yeah.
really like try to figure out why each girl has difficulty learning. He's just like just learn the material. Here's your study guide. So yeah, he's not a great tutor. The father definitely was completely in the right trying to find a different tutor and giving them ultimatums.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
I think so too. Although the absentee dad part of it is also questionable too.
yeah.
But who knows? I don't even know what's going on with this show. However, as this show is usually, now that we've cut some of the other ones, my least favorite of the week. It does not take that title this week, and we'll get there. Don't worry. I got a lot of things to say when we get there.
Okay. Spider.
Yes, I love Spider.
Consistently top 2 of the week, I think.
I don't know.
Maybe
it might
3.
be my top 3. Yeah, I was gonna say because Wonder Egg and Titan are usually my top 2, depending on the week. So
I don't actually remember this image.
This image might be from a different episode. I just really like this scene. So do you remember? It was Magical Girl transformation. It was either this episode or the last episode. I can't remember, and I just liked it, so I used it.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. She's still in the dungeon, which is surprising.
She has like a Madoka outfit on. It looks like Madoka and Pretty Cure combined.
Yeah. I mean, really, it really does. But yeah, she's still in the dungeon, which is a little surprising. I was expecting her to be out by now.
The hero guy, who's the main character guy's in the human side's brother, was in the dungeon, and they're fighting some people. And we actually get a hint at some other bad guys, which is cool because we haven't seen any kind of exterior bad guy forces outside of random monsters on the human side until this episode.
Did we?
Yeah, there was they fought this like ghost spider thing, and then there was a tease of another bad guy at the end. Like somebody standing on a roof or something.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was at the very end.
Yeah. So I mean I like that we're actually getting some kind of plot, although I'm at a point where I agree with you. I'm ready for her to get out of the dungeon. Really ready for that. I appreciate that she's killing more things that are delicious. I figured the eel would be delicious, and I also have eaten something so fast that I was shocked that it was gone. And I was like, oh, did I eat that? And yeah, I did. It was really, really good. So I relate to that.
Yeah, she's also getting some really good abilities, and level ups in her body. Like she has really strong claws now, which will be useful, and she has a skill
Yeah.
called parallel mind, so she can literally focus on the battle while her other mind is doing tactics, which is really useful because now she also has like thing where she gets wounded, she'll at least have 1 HP left over. So like combine
Yeah,
all her
like the
abilities
second
now,
chance.
she's
They
super
call that a
strong.
second chance in Kingdom Hearts, man. Okay, I know that. I know that. You use that when you fight Sephiroth and he uses one winged angel, and then you get second chance, and then you heal yourself immediately. But sometimes he kills you before the potion hits you when you throw it up in the air, and it's really
Now,
annoying. I fought Sephiroth a lot in Kingdom Hearts 1, okay?
so
Just
I've
how you
never
do it.
actually beaten Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 1 because it wasn't required. Like, was there even like a bonus? Because I remember he was super
Oh,
tough, and
you
it was
get
like, yeah, you don't even have to do it. Just
I
leave.
mean, I don't remember, like, for every like 10 levels in the Hercules Cup, you get some kind of like equipment or something or stuff, material or something. But I don't remember there was anything particular. But if you wanted to grind all the way to level 100, Sephiroth was a good way to do that once you could beat him
Oh, I see.
because he gives you a lot of XP at one time. So you could just grind on Sephiroth for a while. Man, that
Yeah,
sounds
I
like
walked in.
phrasing.
I
Phrasing.
know. Phrasing. Yeah, I walked in, got beaten super fast. I'm like, yep, I don't have to do this. I'm leaving. Went to the
Oh
next
yeah,
world,
no, and
never turned back.
he does have a move. He has a move that hits will instantly kill you, no matter what your HP is. But so you have to equip Second Chance. If you don't have Second Chance equipped, you cannot beat Sephiroth. That's just what it is. And then
Oh, you know what? That's probably why I never even attempted because like I don't think I ever had that. I don't think I ever had it.
yeah, yeah, Second Chance. Once you equip Second Chance, then he hits you. You get down to 1 HP, and then you throw a potion or an ether or whatever, like a whatever on yourself, and then you move on. And you have to do that several times, like throughout the course of the match. It's very difficult. But okay, so Spider. I like Spider because I feel like all of this spider eating stuff and things like that are preparing the world for the inevitable Dungeon Meshi anime, because Dungeon Meshi is a really good manga that needs an anime, and it's about these people who are in a dungeon in like kind of like an isekai world, but nobody's transported. It's just the world, like some kind of like medievally fantasy world. And they go in the dungeon, and the whole thing is about they fight all these monsters, and then they discover they tour around with a dwarf guy who's experimenting to cook all of these monsters, and they make different dishes with the stuff they find in the dungeon and how it works and stuff. It's really cool, and it needs to be an anime, and I need all of this food stuff about in dungeons to lead to me having a Dungeon Meshi anime. Okay, that's what I need.
Maybe.
Secret.
I've not heard of that one. So I have no idea if there's really going to be an anime for that one, but who knows?
I hope there is. It's popular. I mean, it's popular enough that I would not be surprised if there was an anime coming. But yeah. So I look forward to more Spider. Although I am really want to get her out of the dungeon so we can discover some more stuff. And now the human stuff, like last week we had basically no human stuff or very little, and this week we didn't have a whole lot either. And I just
Yeah. All we know is that the bully is really like he needs to chill a lot.
yeah.
I think he punched some glass and broke and like got his hand bloodied up. Like the
Yep.
pace of this
Yeah.
show makes me think that this is not going to be 12. It makes me feel this is going to be 24 episodes because right now we're like 6 episodes in, and she's still in the dungeon. The humans
Yeah.
they haven't really even left school yet, so it's like there's
Yeah.
not a lot
I
can
agree.
happen in 6 more episodes. So hopefully
I
we
agree.
can get
I agree.
24.
If it's a long burn, that's okay because I like this show, so it's fine with me. And I love her stupid little Easter eggs too. It's delightful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
The worst
You're
show of
finally
the week.
here. Yeah,
The show was
unfortunately it was.
so bad this week. It was actively terrible.
It was this episode like
Oh
there's
my
so many
god.
reasons to hate this episode actually. It was just
All
overall
right,
dumb.
let's. Yeah, no. So we start out. It does it matter what happened in the last few episodes? No, apparently not. Because whoever's deciding which Yashahime episodes get aired in what order is drunk, I guess, because none of it makes any sense. Like, we had an episode with randomly appears Moroha's teacher, and then that went away really fast, and then they're fighting the main bad guy suddenly, randomly. And then Sesshomaru shows up, and then he fights the guy, and then they disappear, and nothing's ever said of it. And then we get to this episode where all of a sudden, like, Mora has been sort of kidnapped because the corpse dealer, who clearly is not her friend, like, we're just clear there, has sold her out to this lady who wants a LARP, I guess, to watch a LARP of the demon fighter crew that what's her face's brother runs, fighting Moroha and these like character actors who are terrible in basically every fighting way. And then it devolves into like they lie to Toa because there's no explanation of why they lie to Toa at all. And then they do stupid things because Toa shows up and she thinks it's real, and then she starts getting in on the fight, but then she doesn't hold back, and then Setsuna is really
Moroha, so it's the three girls. The three girls are kind of like each having their own role for the show. Like Toa is the cool girl that's like kind of tomboyish, but she's also naive because she hasn't grown up in this world. And then Moroha is the wild idiot girl that's just really fun and quirky kind of. And Setsuna's supposed to be like the Sasuke. Yeah, I don't have emotions. I'm just here. I'm the cool guy. So even though Moroha is supposed to be the idiot, right? Setsuna is actually incompetent. She's truly incompetent. She's supposed to be like this high-ranking demon killer, and she's supposed to have all these abilities, but she literally has no common sense. Everyone in the whole situation knew this situation was getting out of hand. And Setsuna like, I have to do my duty. I'm not going to tell Toa anything. I'm just going to fight. And everyone's like, but we have explosives on the field. I'm going to continue fighting. Setsuna, please.
This show frustrates. It doesn't make any sense. There's no rhyme or reason to the order things come out, to any of this plot line. Like, who storyboarded this show?
I don't know.
Them out back and beat them with a stick, because what's going on here?
It feels like they might have. It feels like they have like 3 or 4 animation staffs that are each working on episodes independently, and like whoever finishes first, we air it. Whoever finishes first, it just airs. Like that's what it feels like.
The lady who hired them, who is this like 90s Ojo-sama here, like in this picture, is like the most annoying character imaginable. Okay?
She has the Satoko laugh.
I've ever seen. So bad. Nothing.
I mean, honestly, this episode
by far the low part of this series. Like, it's the worst episode of this series I've ever seen, and I was going to give this series up before we started doing this.
So this episode wouldn't have been that bad if it had aired immediately after. So we at the very end we find out that the girl that's been staging this whole thing, she's literally mad because they got a speck of dirt on her kimono when they were running by. And this happened in episode 2 when Toa got kidnapped by the king or whatever, and they were had to run in and save her. So if this had aired episode 4, I wouldn't have been mad. It's okay, we're just doing some filler world building episode, whatever, it's fine. But the fact that this is coming off the heels of Sesshomaru coming into town, Inuyasha being thrown into another world, finding out Ren is locked in somewhere, right? We learned so much the last few episodes, and then we just go on to this doesn't even have to air.
This is so terrible. Oh my god. This episode hurt my soul, okay? And I don't even like Yashahime, and this episode hurt my soul, okay? Ugh.
Honestly, because of this episode, and because it doesn't seem like the show has a lot of direction in terms of actually staying on track, if we weren't this far in, I'd say to drop it. You know what I mean? I
was gonna say I would too, but you're right. We're too far in. This is gonna be a 24 episode season, and we need to get. We're too close. We're too close, man.
Yeah.
It's too. We've come too far. We have to keep going. Yeah, this was by far the worst episode of the week. It was a train wreck on every level that there is a train wreck. Ugh. I don't know. But okay, let's move on with some palate cleanser of whatever is next, because it's going to be better than this. Oh, look, it's Wonder
right
Egg.
on to Wonder Egg.
Look, they said the name of the show.
I know. It's like in Frozen when Elsa froze the lake, and then Hans looked over and says, "It's frozen." Like, they said the name.
They said the name of the show. Oh, nerds know. I think the problem with Yashahime is the OG creator didn't do the story. Yeah, not having Rumiko involved definitely is a problem. Although I don't know, Rumiko writes like super long stuff, so I feel like Yashahime would have been like 8 seasons long if Rumiko had written it. So who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. It'd have been a next Boruto.
So Wonder Egg was interesting this episode. They've got a storyline going that I hope goes in a way that I expect it to go, and not the way that they're setting it up to go. So, okay.
The teacher thing is I'm really interested.
Real uncomfortable. Like,
I
don't think the teacher thing.
I don't. So the show is raising red flags on him, but it's almost not even raising enough. Why is no one suspicious of him? So I always thought that the main girl might have been suspicious of him. That's why she was like so standoffish, and that's why that
makes sense to me too. I thought she was upset because her friend was clearly seeing him, and and so I thought coming into this episode, all right. I thought coming into this episode that I didn't like him, or at most had very complicated emotions because she's still her teacher, but was involved in her friends leading up to her suicide. So I'm like,
clearly has been making moves on her moms, right?
So clearly has been making moves on her mom. So this is like a really complicated thing, and it's upset her. And that everything about this episode made sense until the end of it. And then it didn't make sense anymore. And I hope they're not going down the obvious path. And I hope that she just came to some personal realization about bettering herself and giving her mom the space to be with this guy. I still think this guy is going to be a secret evil in the future. I really do.
Yeah, he has to be. Like he's touched too many plots. You know what I mean? You can't just he's involved in too many things. And so
I agree.
The weird thing is, you can go.
I was thinking that Rika is it Rika, the one you don't like? Yeah.
Right? Rika Kawaii.
Rika made a point that I thought was going to be the story, and that was that he's a predator and that he was getting with her mom to get to her, and he was going to be a predator. That's what I thought the story was.
That's a great storyline, and I thought that could be it too.
Yeah, like that. I thought that's where we were going with it, but I really don't want it to be that she's got a thing for the teacher. I really don't, because I do not like that storyline at all.
I don't like it either. I mean, but it does. I mean, it can make sense. It can be like they can try to frame it as her like, oh, she knew her best friend like they both liked him, but she just wasn't doing it. She wasn't trying to like really be upfront about it because she knew her best friend liked him. But then it's like him coming over to then date her mom. At that point, like 100%, you need to like put a hard stop on this. If they're going to try to frame it as her like, oh, maybe I can come back to school to like crush on them, absolutely not.
No, that's going to be garbage. I hope it's not. In my head, I want it to be she's made peace, at least some, so she's going to give her mom the space, and she's going to try to come back to school to be, not stuck in the house and improve herself. And I want it to be that. I don't want it to be, I've got feelings for the teacher. I feel like the teacher is just going to come back and be evil at some point, or already is under the, the guise of something. I wonder if they're going to try to tie it into Rika too in some way. That could be interesting.
I mean, Yeah, because he has. Well, I guess Rika and what's I keep forgetting her name.
I
Um,
the
no,
main
my
girl.
girl, not my
Oh,
girl, the girl I like,
yeah.
Nui,
I can't remember her name either.
whatever. But yeah, her name is hard. But he doesn't have a connection to either of them. But he's like Momoe's like cousin,
Cousin
no,
or
uncle,
something.
uncle, yeah.
Uncle. Yeah.
So I guess it would make sense for him to try to have a connection to each girl. I'm not sure if they're going to. I
Yeah.
feel like that might be stretching the plot a little bit in terms of
Well,
believability,
okay,
but
so all right. So I feel like there's a possibility, and I might be reading way too much into this, all right? But here's a possibility, right? Um say we are going down the path where has a feeling for the teacher, right? We
mm,
get to a point where the teacher abuses one of the other two girls, and it's I and Momoe turning them around of believing the girls versus believing the teacher. You know what I mean? That could be the
yeah,
storyline, because if you the person who I's egg was somebody who supposedly saw ghosts and nobody believed her, and I saved her by saying, no, I believe you. And that was how she saved her in this episode. And maybe that's where we're going as a foreshadowing to where we're going with the storyline with the teacher,
that could be it. That could be
which
it.
would be an interesting story. I mean, that would be an interesting story for sure. But
Yeah,
that could be me reading way too much into symbolism and stuff like that. But I don't know.
it could be,
I'm still very interested
but
in this show. I just did not like that and the implications of the last part of it. But who knows? They could be going in a wildly different direction. I don't know.
yeah,
And that would be
they
great.
have
I would love
soul
that.
gems now, so they can go in
They
any
do.
direction they want.
Real Monica. They have soul gems with little creatures, and it's what is it? It's a snake and an iguana, or
Yeah,
it's a gecko or something. Yeah, like they have
they
cute
have
little
a yeah,
animals.
yeah, like they're pretty good. Uh, what's her Neru. So my girl has a snake, and I'm like, you know what?
She has a
I like
snake. I
that.
like the
She has a
snake.
nice, cute pink
I like it
snake,
when she
and I'm
opens it.
like, you
She's
know
like,
what?
"It's a snake." Like what?
Yeah, like I know that fits her. That fits her. Like she's a business executive. She runs a company. Snakes are like have that like kind of air of being like
She's a
manipulating and running
Slytherin.
stuff. Yeah, she's a
She's a
Slytherin.
Slytherin.
I approve of her.
Yeah, no, I like that part. That was pretty good. Now we've introduced a new bad guy called a hater. In addition
Oh
to the
yeah,
other weird little things, and the hater's got big
yeah.
teeth, and it looks. If you ever like, I don't. The Max, which was a cartoon but also comic book, and it's like one of my favorite comic books, has these little creatures called Izzes, and they look exactly like these hater things. They've
So I've
got
never
giant
seen that.
teeth. Oh, it's really good. If you ever want to watch it, I own it on several platforms. It's like one of the best American cartoons I've ever seen. It's absolutely amazing.
Okay.
But the comic is really good too, and I also own a whole bunch of the comic. But it looked just like them. And the scene, I made a note in my notes. The scene where I is fighting with the invisible boss, and then she's like, the girl's freaking out, and I doesn't see anything still, and the invisible boss grabs around her neck, and you just see the hand imprints before it slings her through the wall. That was like really good scene. Really good scene.
Yeah, yeah. The fights in this are really good. The direction is really good. Honestly, there's not really a lot that Wonder Egg isn't doing good. I just hope it doesn't drop the ball for that plot that we talked about earlier. And
I
yeah,
agree.
I think this show is gonna be pretty good overall.
Yeah, and I feel like we could still keep going down that path with that plot, like I said, but just take a different turn. Where, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? People are coming to terms with the fact that he's a creep. Because, let me be real, he's a creep, okay? Like, there's so much going on there. Not only the age differential thing with, like, a high school girl, and she's not even that old of a high school girl. Like, they're very young high school. So you're talking about, like, what, like 14 or 15? Like,
yeah.
they're
Like
too young, man.
like
And then a
like
power
even if he's
dynamic
not
with the
like the villain, even if they don't go the route of him being the villain, like any sane male knows you don't like put yourself in certain these situations because he kept like, oh, let me paint you. Like, okay, even if you don't have bad intentions, that's not what a teacher should. Your teacher
yeah.
should not be like painting his students. So it's like, even if this guy
Yeah,
doesn't have bad intentions, he's not a good guy.
yeah, I
But
agree. I
yeah,
agree. But whatevs. Hori Mia. I find this
Horimiya.
show so refreshing. I can't believe he cut his
Yeah,
hair. I'm so surprised he cut his
yeah.
hair.
So my controversial take has always been whenever an anime girl cuts their hair, they always end up looking worse. Like they never
Oh,
their original look is almost always better than the look they have after they cut their hair. And I feel the
you
same
are
thing for
correct.
him.
You are correct.
It's
When
like,
he pulls his hair up in like the after school hours, he's absolutely adorable. And now he just looks like generic protagonist. Like scruffy hair generic protagonist. Like I don't like it. I don't like it. I miss the long hair. It was good. And I don't understand
yeah.
like he doesn't care about the piercings now cuz clearly people already noticed the piercings. So, I mean, he's going to either get in trouble with it immediately or it doesn't matter at all. So,
Yeah, and I think main girl, that was like her thing though. Like she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm so happy that I'm the person that's like holding on to this other part of you. Like I'm the only person that has seen like your piercings and understand that this is why you have long
yeah.
hair." And he comes to school and she gives him the stare so cold that everyone's like, "Wait a minute, is the window open? Why is it so freezing in here?" So it's like
Yeah.
she feels like I think she feels like he stepped on that thing that was hers. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, their relationship right now is it's good, it's healthy, and it's stable, right? And so we're only at episode 6 because they're like even when they have like their little disagreement moments, it's like, oh yeah, it happens. Like we move on, we laugh about it, and whatever.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem
Oh,
like
I appreciate
it'd be really weird. I was,
there's not any tropes of hiding their relationship either, which is great. They're
yeah,
like, all these people are whispering, "Are you dating Miyamura?" Yeah, I am, and
yeah,
like
like most
there's not
anime would be like, no,
anything.
no, we can't be like out and open about this, and keep it hidden
Ah,
and cause like all this controversy with that route. But no, they're like, nah, like yeah, we're dating. What's it to you? Like,
yep,
do you have do you have a comment about this
you got a
situation?
problem? I was gonna say, you gonna come fight
Like,
me? I mean, don't fight Miyamura because he already punched the
because
guy.
both of them will fight somebody. Both of them will get up and fight somebody if
They
the
will.
circumstances call for it. And this
I
little girl comes up. This little girl comes up and starts following him. And then she's like, "So yeah, what's the deal, little girl? What's the deal?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, it's so unfair." And then the plot twist happens. And it turns out she likes what's the main girl's name?
Hori. I like
Hori.
Hori.
She likes Hori. And I was like, "Oh, plot twist." And then best friend comes in. "Oh, plot twist." So yes, that's what I was saying.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I like that. I mean, that's a little. It's a little bit, slapsticky, but I don't care. I like it. I much rather prefer that to everybody loves Miyamura. Like everybody should love
yeah,
Hori. Hori is attractive. Hori has a lot to offer. I mean, that makes the
yeah.
most sense. Everybody loves
She can
Hori.
cook.
Like yeah,
She can cook.
her dad is
That's
incompetent. I love it. They don't have anything for her dad. Well, if Miyamura stays over, we ain't got nothing for you. So you can just, hit the road. Like they just don't
yeah.
care. Even the little kid, even her little brother is like, yeah, he's gonna leave. I don't really care.
Yeah. He was
He's
like,
the
"Hey, is
worst
these
dad
chopsticks
ever.
disposable?" I was like, "Yeah, we didn't have any extra ones, but you gave him part of the set." Yeah, whatever.
Yep. He's here more than you. Oh.
Dang, dang.
Good. Uh,
I love how the dad couldn't recognize him for 3 times this episode. He was like, "Who are you?" "It's the guy you just met." "All right." He cuts his hair. "Who are you?" "It's the guy you met yesterday." "Oh, okay."
yeah, the dad, I don't know if I like the dad character at all. I feel like he needs to like blow on back out of town because
Yeah,
the
he's not
joke
really
is done.
useful. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
But,
did what we needed him for. He was the final push for their relationship. And now we're like on clear waters, everything's good. He can just go.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm done with him. But I look
Yeah.
forward to the show. The show, it's not my favorite show of the week, but it feels like a breath of fresh air sometimes when you're watching a
Yeah.
lot of other stuff. So I like it. I like it.
News came out that the manga for Horimiya is ending, I think, really
Ending.
soon.
Yeah,
So
I heard. Oh, you know what our skater boys had this week? We had a beach episode.
we had
We
a
had
beach
a
episode.
full-fledged beach episode. And
We
I'm
did
all
okay.
about. All right.
So I mean,
So
so this
before I
episode wasn't
start,
like important, but it was nice.
But before you get into anything about this episode, tell me if you have the same feeling that I did at this episode, Erik, okay? We've been watching the show. This is episode 6, so we've been watching the show for 5 episodes. And it's definitely gotten gayer and gayer the further we've went in. In this episode, I feel like the people who are making the show made a concerted, very obvious effort to show that most of the people in this show are straight. Like, awkwardly so. Do you feel that way, Erik?
I don't.
Like, you
So
started
I
on the
mean,
boat.
I so well. I guess so. I mean, I don't think it was an intentional like, oh, they want to like die or tone down the fan base. I don't think it was that decision, but they did like. So we know Joe. I mean, Joe was always the ladies' guy. Like Joe always had women around
Joe
him.
is not the one I'm talking about. You start out this whole sequence with Reki staring at a woman and thinking how beautiful she is. And then Flower Guy and what's the little one's name? Mia? And
Yeah.
both of them are like, you're gonna fail at this. And then Langa's like, oh, she is pretty. And it's like, that seems a little bit on the nose.
I don't think it was anything nefarious that the directors was like trying to like kill like the fan base with this one. But I think it was more so just guys giving each other flack about, yeah, like you should go like try to talk to that girl. You're totally gonna get dumped. And I mean that's a guy thing. So I mean,
Well,
I think that's fine.
I don't know, because Reki is definitely gay for Langa. Let's be real here, all right? Let's be 100% real. He is gay for Langa. That's the canon ship. That's what it is, all right?
I mean,
you can't watch the show and not say that.
Okay, so like the show has. I mean, that's I think that's what we assume just because of what the show is and how it presents itself. But they haven't actually like made any character developments that says he definitely is in love with Langa. Like it's just like we just assume that's the case
right
because that's how anime is.
Right there. And you're right that they established that Joe is like the ladies' man, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Joe is definitely a bisexual because there is all kinds of old married couple energy between Joe and Cherry Blossom.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
like 110%. That's my ship, okay? If I'm going to pick a ship from this show, it's going to be Joe and Cherry Blossom 110%. Logos Gaming says Langa saving Reki from wiping out was definitely a love hug.
It was. So like I think this show does a lot. This show handles itself in a very similar way that Black Butler handles itself, where Black Butler caters to the fan base that wants to see guy ships. But even though it caters to that fan base, everything in the show still presents itself as being a heterosexual relationship. Because like even though CL is always shit with Sebastian, he's married to or he's engaged to Elizabeth, right? And so I think this show kind of does the same thing, but it leans a little bit more to the catering to the fan base side. But yeah,
well, I don't know.
This episode was kind of the balancing for it.
I've watched 4 full seasons of Haikyuu, and you want to talk about a show where people get shipped left and right, all right? Like, I love Haikyuu, don't get me wrong. But if you watch Haikyuu, give me a sec. Okay. Sorry. If you watch Haikyuu, instead of like saying, oh, I'm going to introduce, there's 2 characters in the show that show interest in women. And when I say they show interest in women, I mean, that's the only 2 characters that show interest in any kind of relationship stuff, like at all, through the whole show. They just avoid talking about that aspect of their lives entirely. It's just about volleyball and the competition and their family lives and sometimes and stuff like that. Tanaka and Nishinoya are the only people that show any interest in the opposite or same sex at any point, basically, during the entire show. And they could have done that here. But I feel like they went a little bit out of their way to do this in this episode. That it
Possibly.
felt the whole scene with Reki felt very on the nose, but you know. But okay,
Yeah.
so
But they
yeah,
did make
Haikyuu
sure
is
to throw in a scene of Joe thinking that Cherry was a girl for a second.
yeah, I did like that. Come on, they're an old married couple. That's just what it is. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so
Yeah.
Lagash Gaming has brought up something that I wanted to tell you a fun story about. There's a scene where Miwa's on the beach and he runs up to Joe and he's like, "Daddy, Mommy's over there," and points to Cherry.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so. I did that to my sister when I was little. So my sister is 10 years older than me, but she's always looked like when she was in high school, she looked like she was in her 20s. And so sometimes we'd go to like the movies, and I thought it was funny because I always looked younger than I was, and I was this smart ass little kid. And I'd run up to her and go, "Mommy, please don't leave me," like very loudly in the middle of like a movie theater lobby. She gets so mad, and I thought it was the funniest thing. And everybody would turn around and look at her. So I relate to that. Sorry about this.
Yeah.
And I felt it coming, and I was like, "Oh no, it's coming!" And I had to stop talking, and then it didn't come. But yeah. Oh yeah, I've always been a gremlin. That is correct. Very correct. But yeah, this whole episode was delightful from start to finish. I think the whole like we have a festival where we dress up in mud and get stinky, and then like that was kind of weird. But
it is weird,
okay.
and also I don't know why they had skateboards as well.
Yeah, that didn't really make a lot of sense, but okay.
This was just a beach episode. They wanted to throw in a beach episode, and it was like whatever, pad out the episode, whatever. Just this is our throwaway.
And now we got a tournament. Now we got Adam hosting a tournament.
Yes,
I'm ready.
We have a tournament arc.
I'm very ready for this. I like
one thing.
Go ahead.
One thing I wanted to mention is that Shadow is now the Steve Harrington of the show. He's the babysitter.
He is. You're right. You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
Oh my god. I love it how like they left him with all the bags, and he's like, he used to be the villain. He could just be like, "No, forget it. I'm leaving your stuff in the middle of the road." But no, he carried it, put it in his car, make sure it got where it needed to be. He's a good babysitter.
I like it. When they go to Cherry's like hot spring, he takes the time to put on makeup before they get in the like the hakamas and stuff, and they go walking around in the hot spring.
Because he also has Shinibyo. Like he also has Shinibyo though. He gotta get in character. Don't blame the man.
Oh god. This show is really delightful.
I was not prepared for Shadow to be my favorite character. I was not prepared for that.
This episode was like kind of a filler episode. I don't even care. I don't care.
Yeah.
This episode was great. I loved it. This was like the polar opposite of this week's Yashahime, okay?
Yeah, like both were like not really important. I mean, we saw little important things because this sets up the tournament arc. We saw Adam getting weird advice from the police officer
with like a detective. Yeah.
Yeah. So we know who called the cops now, or why the cops were there. So I guess the detective is going to have some big role because like she's like the person. I guess she's the only confident police officer in town, realizing that a major road was taken off the routine, and no one questioned that. So okay.
Yep. That's what it feels like to me too. But I like that whole scene where like what's the best thing to determine a dish? What is necessary for a great dinner? The hors d'oeuvres? And she's like so like confused by that, and he's like, the hors d'oeuvres, like it's like this big revelation. Like what?
Yeah, and that's how he landed on the tournament arc to get, I guess, the side characters in on the fun.
I told you, man. Adam he's a predator, but he is definitely the most interesting character in this whole show. Okay, yeah. He's not redeemable, but he's interesting. We'll go with that.
I'm surprised they didn't have him show up at the beach, though.
Yeah, I know. All right, Titan. Titan is how much more of Titan are we gonna have? I mean, like, I'm really curious about how this is gonna go.
I'm not even sure. We just
because
know
they
this is the
started
final
this
season.
early. Like this started airing before the rest of the season. So this was episode 69 that aired on Valentine's Day. So just so everybody knows that.
Nice.
Nice. This was some backstory on the 3-year gap between when Aaron decided to go nuts and attack Marley, and then they all followed him there. Between when they started intercepting Marley's ships and when Aaron went to go attack people. So you've got, and then we had some future stuff too. Current stuff.
Yeah.
Aaron is now like in a prison, but he's talking to Hanji, and he's like, yeah, I ate the Warhammer Titan, so your jail cell can't hold me.
Can't hold me.
No.
Like, he's like, I'm here by choice. Like, don't press your luck. Like, because so even though I'm like, Aaron, don't be roughing up Hanji like that. Like, don't disrespect her. At the same time, Hanji kind of was asking for it. The man's having a breakdown. He's talking to himself in the mirror, and you go to crack some jokes like, hey, you talk to yourself? I don't talk to myself. The normal people talk to themselves. He's like, please, you need to get out of here. Like, you need to stop this. So she kind of asks for it, but at the same time, Aaron needs to chill out a little bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He's got an objective in mind. And then, like, there's this, it's like kind of a wholesome scene where, like, Aaron's in the cart. They're all, like, getting buff to, like, fight the Marleyans in the past. And they're laying track for trains.
Right,
yeah, for trains.
I guess they're just trying to better the area. Yeah.
It's so they can transport their stuff to the ocean so they can take it on the ships to take it back. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Transportation. That makes plenty of sense. But and then he's like, I don't want any of you to inherit my Titan because I want you to live long lives and all of this. And I mean, that's wholesome and all. But the best scene in the entire episode is I'm Sasha and I'm going to take over your Titan. Or maybe Connie did it first. I'm going to take over your Titan. And then Sasha's like, you can't do that.
No, it wasn't Connie. Is his name Gene? Is it Gene? So first it was Gene, and then Connie was like, no, I gotta do it. And then Sasha was like, no, but you're an idiot. We can't have someone that important taking over something. Or someone that's stupid taking over something that's important. And then Connie's like, did you just call me stupid? You're stupid.
I know, like, you're the stupid one. You can't have it because you're stupid too. Like,
it was just hilarious because. But the thing is, it wasn't just the lines that were hilarious. It was the way they delivered it. They were like, it was like such dread in their voice. Like, you're an idiot. You can't have it. What? I'm an idiot. You're an idiot. Like, it was like such, like, you thought something like they're about to fight or something. It was so hilarious.
This was the intense Connie episode because Connie was 800 kinds of intense through this entire episode.
Yeah, Connie needs to calm down too.
Well, I mean, Sasha did just die, so she did in the current timeline. But that was interesting. Next week is going to be exciting. Next week is going to be definitely, I think, a turning point episode for Titan because they've got the 2 kids from Marley that are hanging out in prison with them.
Did you watch the preview at the end of the episode?
Yeah.
So it seemed that Gabby and Falco are going to escape, and they're going to get to see the rest of the world. And I'm looking forward to see how fast their worldview breaks down because these kids are indoctrinated. They're not ready. Yep. They're not ready to see.
Well, and also behind the curtain. Gabby's already like half insane anyway, to start with. Yeah. So let's see where we're going. Yeah. And then Falco has deep-seated trauma now from being in the room with like Aaron and Reiner and like. Ugh. There's so much there. Yeah. Psychiatrists could take decades. The show is insane. But production quality is still real good on it, though. So I'll take it.
Yeah.
Slime. Slime was fun this week. It was stuff going on. Things happened.
I don't think fun is the right word. Like it was. Well, it was pretty bad in a good way. Yeah.
Okay. So I got to start out with the beginning of the episode when he's like saying goodbye to like the students and stuff, and then like the super serious wolf guy that he always rides and stuff is like, oh, I'm a good boy. Wag, 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 wag. And it's like, when did you become an actual dog? Like, it
No,
was
he's always been a
adorable.
dog. He's always been like an actual like good boy. Like you haven't seen season 1, but that's his thing. He's the best of boys.
He's precious. I thought it was so precious. Oh my god! And
Yeah,
this is the chick we saw at the beginning of the season who was like a disciple of his girlfriend that he ate, right?
yeah. So her name is
Yeah.
Hinata. She's crazy overpowered. She's pretty much the first person in the show ever to really push Jimiru to like dying. There was I guess technically Inferit gave him
Ifrit,
some hard times. Yeah, the fire spirit that's
the
inside him gave him some
woman.
hard
Yeah.
times. So pretty much he's always had a way to like quickly beat somebody, but they put it like barriers in order to just like stop all his powers. And then she's strong by her, like just by herself. So they're trying to set it up to seem like he's going to quote unquote die, but we know he's not. Um,
Yeah.
it seems at the very last
Oh,
second he used his devour attack.
yeah. So he's gonna eat either her or her and the sword, or just the sword, or something's gonna happen. That's what it feels like.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm a little bit upset because I like the old swordsman guy, and I don't want him to be dead. Like,
I
I
don't want to be
like it if
dead
he were
either.
not.
There's a lot of people that are like on the potential dead list right now. Like he got cut up pretty bad. Shion got beat up. Um, she tried to save the little girl that was in the middle of the street for some reason. I don't know why she wasn't evacuated by then, but she's in a bad spot. The two goblins are in a bad spot. The whole village
Yeah,
is on
yeah.
fire
And
at
then
this
they
point. The
just
church is
sliced through.
coming in.
They sliced through that one goblin guy, and now he's. Yeah, I'm concerned about him too. I have a concern,
Yeah,
but
I don't think anybody's really going to die, but it is going to be it's going to be interesting to see how they patch this up. Um,
yeah,
I don't know how they're going to
yeah.
go back to normal after this.
I didn't have a good picture for this one,
Be
so
my
I just had a
Valentine.
Valentine picture. My Valentine
I mean,
slime.
be my balance line.
Yeah.
Oh, one
Logos
one
Gaming
one
would
big
be
thing in this. What you say?
Logos Gaming is if they kill Shion, I'm rioting. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that. I
That
don't think they're gonna. I mean, I think you're pretty safe there. I
yeah.
get that
She's too
feeling.
she's too good of a girl. She's pretty good.
Yeah,
Like she's a great secretary. Like she has really good comedic value and plot value. So one
yeah.
interesting thing that happened this episode that um you may not have picked up. Well, you wouldn't have picked up because you haven't seen this character. This character was in season 1 and the OVAs, but
Hmm.
they're almost completely laid out that there has to be a traitor in his ranks, and literally nobody has the information that Hinata was sprouting except for one man. She was like, "Hey, I know that you're Japanese and you came from another world and you have like all this stuff going on and like all this information about the nation of Tempest." Some people have bits and pieces of that information, but there's literally only one guy that has all of it, and he's like this head of like the Adventurers Guild that Rimuru meets in the OVAs and like the end of season 1, and he gives this guy like a treasure trove of manga because he like memorized all the plots of all the manga he's read, and he can just like spit out manga pages, literally just create them in his body and spit out volumes of manga. So he gave this other guy all this manga to just sit around and read, and apparently he's going to be the traitor because there's literally nobody else it could be. Like they could try to make it somebody else, but at least from where I'm standing, there's literally no other character that has information. So
Yeah. Hmm. Well, we'll see. I mean, we're gonna find out pretty soon because this section is gonna get wrapped up very, very soon. So,
yeah,
yeah, I like the show. I mean, even though I didn't watch the first season, I like it. I think it's pretty interesting.
yeah.
So there
Neverland
was no new Neverland this
recap.
week. It was a recap episode. We didn't get anything new from it. I do look forward to more Neverland. Neverland is always in my top 5. I I feel like we need some more direction in this season, both because I've read the manga and now I don't know what's going on, and I need to know which sections of the manga they're going to do next. But yeah, we just need more of
Yeah,
it.
like
That's all.
this episode feels like the production team might be behind schedule, and they were like, "Crap, we're not going to make it in time. Hire the video editor, have them cut up the episode really quick. Let's buy us a week."
Yeah.
Because like it doesn't make any sense why you would have this recap be at episode. Like it'd have been nice to have it at episode 1. Not that it was really needed. But it's like let's just throw it in at episode 5 when pretty much not a lot has even happened at this point. It just feels weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I actually had a similar issue with when they released the Full Metal Panic Infinite Victory season 4, which was a gift, and I'm grateful for it forever. Don't worry. They did the same thing. There was like episode 5 or 6. There was a recap episode, and I'm like, I waited
Yeah, I remember
10
that
plus
actually.
years for this, and you're giving me a recap episode? Get out of my face! I was so mad, man. I was so mad. I waited so long for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I want another season of that too.
ReZero
ReZero.
confused the crap out of me this time. Like the motivations of Roswell confused the crap out of me. Like I liked this episode until it got to the end, and then I'm like, but what?
I had to think a little bit about this whole season to this point has been just building up on tons and tons of. So the thing about ReZero is that he constantly walks down different paths, starts over, walk down another path in order to try to find the right solution to get past certain events, right? So we're constantly getting bits and pieces of the world that never get fully explained. So we constantly like see in one scenario, Beatrice talks about how she has this book called the Gospel, and we never really find out who else has one or what's really the greater purpose of it is, but we know it exists, right? And in another scenario, we might learn that Roswell might have this particular backstory, but it never gets like fully fleshed out because he resets and just follows a different path. This whole season so far has been capitalizing on all those kind of like mini timelines that just got thrown to the wayside previously, and now it feels like all these things are happening, or all this stuff is like requires so much like explaining because it's like it's just like we're literally just like building on like 6 different like timelines at this point. So that's why it feels like I have to like explain to you like a whole like, oh, here's all the things that led up to this type thing.
I got the backstory with Roswell and the witch lady and Beatrice and all of that. Okay, like I'm piecing that together. All right, and then the lady that's the little girl that's 4 of herself, and then she becomes like some key for them and sacrifices herself. Okay. What I didn't get is he clearly has an affinity to the witch lady, and he clearly was doing this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm gonna do whatever on her benefit. And then at the end, it's like it didn't make sense. Like, how did that lead you to being so freaking crazy and being constantly sure that people are going to let you down? And he doesn't seem bitter about it. He seems almost happy about it. Like, no, this is just my worldview. And it's like, what?
Yeah. So
how did you get here?
So what got revealed in a few of the previous timelines and at the beginning of this timeline is that Roswell has a book called a Gospel, and it's like so far we've seen like 3 or 4 people that have a gospel. Beatrice has one too. Betelgeuse has one, and pretty much it's a book that is full of a bunch of blank pages, but the pages that are filled in are kind of like events that are written for you to like look out for. And so his gospel told him that a guy named Subaru is going to come into his life that is going to have the ability to go through different timelines and reset pretty much timelines. And are the events that Subaru is going to have to go through in order to get you to your ultimate goal. So I kind of know what his goal is because I looked at in order to remind myself of what his motivations are. I looked at wiki and I read like one sentence too far in, but I think his goal is only revealed in the next episode. But pretty much his gospel tells him to follow these events. We already know that he has a gospel that has been telling him to follow all these events to this point. And so right now, I think he's just going through the motion of those events, and he's not really concerned about like what are the repercussions because he believes that these events will lead him to his goal. But
It
So
seemed really arbitrary.
it
Almost
is
like
weird.
setting him up, like give him like a humanized backstory, but then all of a sudden it was really weird the way he interpreted. It was, I don't know. It was interesting to a point, but then it didn't make sense at the end. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
The show,
honestly, I feel like all
it's
the
no,
villains
it's
in the
no
show
better
kind
than
of
my
have
dread.
like all the villains in the show kind of have like motivations that feel just like it's convenient for the time. You know what I mean? It's like it
Yeah,
feels like they were just kind of thrown in for the moment whenever they were necessary, and they weren't really like planned out the whole time. Um, like the same thing with Garfield. Garfield's motivations were like, really? That's why you're causing all
yeah.
this
The
problems?
whole Garfield thing seemed really, really weird too. Like what? But
Yeah.
oh, okay, all right.
I
I
hate
guess
that.
that's where we're.
That I hate that they're propping up Subaru to be like the believer in a person's strength, and Roseball's the believer in their weakness. And it's like, no, Subaru's just like he's not that great of a guy. Like, why are you making him to be? Why are you giving this long? This whole episode was like a long motivational speech just to prop up Amelia and Subaru, and they're not really doing anything that great. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess they're the main characters, but it's like you're kind of floundering through everything.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I,
So
I'm still bought in. It's cool. It's better than it was. I like it better than I certainly like it better than this week's Yashahime. I probably like this
yeah,
better than I like quintuplets too, because quintuplets actively makes me angry. But it's not. It's on the lower end of my list, so you know.
yeah,
Oh, I had Rosewall. Rosewall looking normal.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
why can't you
Like
look
all the
normal all
characters
the
look
time?
normal in this timeline, like or like in the past. Like they're all like
Mhm.
perfectly fine human beings, but then they like became really weird, like Petroglyphs.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
He had a thing. He had a thing. Doctor Stone.
All right, Doctor Stone.
I got a pretty stupid image for this one. I liked it. Dr. Stone's at the
Yeah, this
beginning of our
that was a moment where they were like, "Oh, you can go."
no. If you're looking at the spreadsheet, Dr. Stone is at the beginning, and it always screws me up because I'm like it's on the last part of the slideshow, but it's the beginning of our spreadsheet, so I have to flip around. But go ahead.
Yeah, so this picture is from when everyone thought that Senku and the old guy were like really sad, saying, "Oh no, Chrome isn't here. Like we have to go save Chrome." And they're like, "Oh, they care for him." And they were like, "No, he's gonna be like so upset that he's not watching us build this train. Like we're
Yeah,
doing all this cool science stuff and he's not here." And like, "Oh, okay."
I love the little Master
So
Roshi guy, but like I love
yeah, like
unusually like beefy old short men. Like, why is that a thing? Like, and they just like flex and their freaking shirts pop off. Why is that an anime trope?
I mean,
I don't
he's
know,
like
man.
a glass maker. Well, was he making glass? No. He was making like pottery and stuff. So he was putting in work all the years of his life. So it makes sense that he has muscles. But like
Yeah,
the moment he
but he's
takes off his shirt, it's like, yes, he truly is Master Roshi.
like,
Like if he actually I wonder if he actually got into a fight, would he be able to like actually like be able to do damage? You know? He hasn't
yeah.
actually fought yet. He's only been making tools. Um
Well,
but yeah, now they're
this whole
leaving the village.
episode, yeah, but you've definitely got the. This is I don't know if you want to call it like the mystery author problem where all of a sudden miraculously the guy on the other side knows exactly what your plan is, even though there's no deduction that could have led him to that place so specifically. Like, this feels like a
Yeah,
very poor written Sherlock Holmes short. Like, oh, clearly you're
yeah.
going to from the northeast and have made a steam engine and be coming with that. Like, what? What?
Like if anything, it almost makes you like the fact that Sukasa landed at that right answer almost makes you think less of him because it's such an absurd idea. Like if someone in the Stone Age says, "Hey, they're going to make an automobile and come here, and so we have to make a trap for the automobile," and I'm like, are you on drugs? like it's such an outrageous plan that being able to predict it almost makes you an idiot. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
why wasn't his first estimate that they would send a spy and send a whole team to like sneak him out in the middle of the night? Because that feels like the logical conclusion. Oh,
I
they're
mean, yeah,
coming. Oh, they're going to try to like steal him away in the middle of the night while everybody's asleep, or bring a cutting device to cut through the bamboo and the hole in the rocks, because that would make a lot of sense to do, you know? And it's like, what?
yeah.
What?
So I respected Tsukasa when he figured out that they were trying to make gunpowder in season 1, because like that's the logical step, right? So like if you come from the modern age and you know how battles are won in the modern age, you would say, okay,
Yeah.
what's the most important thing that could cause us to lose our advantage?
Yeah.
Weaponry.
Large explosions
So gunpowder,
and technical power. I get it. This doesn't
that
make
made
any
perfect
sense.
sense. Not the automobile thing.
Not the car thing. It does not make any sense whatsoever. And like making a steam engine and like, what?
That's.
What?
I feel like there's so many like easier ways to handle these problems than like Senku. He thinks so far ahead that it's like, no, you don't even need all this. Like, just make wheels. Like you don't need an actual automobile. But whatever, it's
You
anime,
know,
so it's fine.
I know it's ridiculous, but I don't know. This is part of the reason this show hurts me. But I don't know.
I'm not
I guess it
mad at
wasn't
it.
terrible. It wasn't. It could be worse. And the new episode's already out. We just haven't watched it yet, so we'll talk about that next week too. So yeah.
Yeah. One question I do have is what is Homura doing? Homura, the little pink-haired girl. Like they're not bringing her with her, and I don't think they have a guard in the village watching over her.
Who knows?
So it's like,
I mean, maybe they are bringing her with, because they haven't really loaded the boat that much yet. You know, the gorilla boat. So who knows?
I suppose. Yeah.
All right, so I made you watch
Is that from Colorful?
fairly terrible. Yes. This is from one of my favorite sections, when there's a giant woman who's stomping through town, and there's like a whole like news program about it, and she's humming the like Oompa song from Willy Wonka in the dub.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you about
the
dub later.
I watched I watched 3 episodes because that's about how much I could stand. Like
they're only 6-minute episodes.
I know, and that's why I watched more than 2. If there were 4 episodes, I definitely would not have watched past 2. But it's 90s like 90s anime were so openly problematic. Like anime in general can be problematic at times. Like I know some of the things that exist in today's world, like in today's anime shows. Like there's always problematic shows, but they were just so open about it in the 90s.
I was going to say, there's plenty of problematic anime right now. I'm looking at you, Redo of Healer. I'm looking at you. Okay, like
I heard some things about that one, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, that is problematic on a whole different level. Like this is just perv stuff. Like, all right, yes, it is very problematic. But the thing I like about this show is that I'd say 3 to 4 out of every 5 segments, there is instant karma for that person. Like, I'm trying to look up this person's, and then something horrible happens to me immediately. My favorite one that I watched on this watch through was the guy that's in the kotetsu thing. It's like 4 people sitting around. If you're not familiar with a kotetsu, it's or kotatsu or whatever. It's like a table with a heating element under it, and you put a blanket under it, like under the top of the table, but around it. So you sit in it to keep warm. And he sees that like one of his friends is a chick, and she's passed out, and he thinks he's going to take a peep at her panties. Now, and also to be clear, in like 90% or more of these, they're only looking at stuff, which is refreshing, because there's definitely some weird gropey stuff in some of the other things that is very problematic, even more so. But so he's like peeking in to look, and he's like, oh, it's so great. And then she turns her leg and smushes his face against the heating element, and just, it felt like Home Alone. I felt like I was watching Home Alone, all right? And the iron falls on Marv's head, and he's got like the stain of the iron on his head for the rest of the movie. That's what it felt like. Instant
Yeah, I mean,
karma
pretty much.
right there.
Pretty much. There was also a scene of a guy, this girl, she was resting on a train, and the guy was intentionally like leaning back in his chair as far as back as he could
And he's
to
like
get a
trying to
right
look up.
angle to see if her skirt. And this other older man comes in and says, "Just amateur," and he just stands in front of the guy. He just
He
stands
does, and
right
he's
in front of
looking
him.
down
Says,
her shirt. And then a whole like baseball team of little kids comes in and pushes him out of the way. And it's delightful. It's
you know,
delightful. Like I like this show. Okay, so there's a couple of things that I do like about this show. It is very problematic. There's a transphobic part of episode 8 that's not good, like on any level. I don't like that stuff. But there I like this show because of instant karma, because people are definitely getting their comeuppances very quickly, and that's like the gag. It is a very similar gag over and over again. But then you've got like running themes with characters. There's only about like 5 or 6 characters that kind of run through the show, and then you keep seeing them recur over and over again. But I also like that the interstitials. They do weird visual and audio interstitials that are really strange. Like there's like a wrestler clotheslining another wrestler, and the audio is like, "I love you." Like and they play that one like
yeah,
8 times in a row. And there's a scene where it's like a Japanese politician, but they overlay Richard Nixon, "I am not a crook," or somebody mocking Richard Nixon. And like these little interstitials are hilarious to me. I don't know why I find them so funny, but I find them really, really funny.
yeah. I
Um,
learned where a particular audio that's used in Amy Hell, it was from the dub of this, and I can't say the audio because it's
is it the picture of the cat?
yeah.
So
And I'm
okay,
like, oh, okay, I know that scene from Amy Hell.
yeah. So okay, so that brings me to a really good point. In that scene in Japanese, there's no audio. Like the scene with the cat
Oh,
with the first episode. This is a really good example. And you wouldn't know this if you hadn't seen the sub and the dub separately, where this was a Japanese show and it has a lot of Japanese jokes in it. And you wouldn't get them. Like I mentioned that there was a scene where they overdubbed somebody mocking Richard Nixon. Well, it wasn't Richard Nixon in Japanese. It was some joke that, is way off in the ether that nobody in the US is going to get, right? The amount of effort done to localize the script and make these jokes still be jokes and have more jokes in English that are for an English audience is frankly stunning. There was a ton of work that went into the script for the localization of this property here. I mean, like, so freaking much. It's amazing. I didn't realize it until when we watched this show in club. We watched it in the theater, actually. And when we watch things in the theater, we watch them subtitled and dubbed, so that we could make fun of the differences in them. Sometimes
you have to make note for everyone watching that you're talking about the Georgia Tech Theater for the
yeah,
anime
I'm talking about
club.
the Georgia Tech Student Center Theater, right?
This
So
was
we
not
watched
at a
it in the
Regal.
theater. Yeah, no. But the amount of effort that went into the localization for this is really high. And I know it's a bunch of dudes just like panting and trying to scooch down for panty shots, but it's frankly got some of the best dubbing work I've ever heard in my life. Like it's
I mean,
really good.
yeah.
They're
So
character
it
exactly
reminds
like it
me
should be.
of um Golden Boy, where if
Yes,
you just take out all the plot of all the Golden Boy episodes and just take the comedy skits and just lay them out back to back to back, that's what you'll have left. You have left colorful.
you're correct.
Um,
I like this a lot because it reminds me of Golden Boy, and Golden Boy is one of like the best. Golden Boy is one of the best dubs ever made, like ever, and it's a very similar type of comedy, very similar in the earlier parts. The thing about Golden Boy is it's much like GTO in that you think he's a very big perv, and he kind of is, but in the end he becomes like the good guy and he saves the day,
yeah,
and that's the plot of all 6
yeah.
episodes of
Like
Golden Boy.
even though Golden Boy is not a like he does problematic things in his heart, he is a good guy. This colorful is like What if all the bad guys just got
Yeah,
together
they're
and
all
start
bad
doing bad
people.
things and then got karma for it?
They're all bad people. But oh my god. I don't know why it makes me laugh so much, but it makes me laugh so much. So many sections of this. Now, some of it is still too problematic to be good. Like I said,
Yeah.
there's a scene in episode 8 that I'm just like, nah, that's too much. I don't like that, you know. And there's the whole scene, the whole Yamamoto thing is a little bit much for me. I don't know if you've gotten to that part yet. There's one with a coach
I only
and like a
watched
high
3.
school girl, and he's
No,
always
I
turned
didn't.
on
I
by
didn't
the
get
high
that
school
far.
girl. Okay. I don't like the Yamamoto segments, but the only thing I do like about it is when they do a Yamamoto segment, it starts out with like a picture of her face, and it's like 800 people in a bunch of different fonts of Yamamoto, 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 Yamamoto. And I don't know why that amuses me, but it does. But yeah, I don't like those segments, and I don't like the segment in episode 8, but yeah, I do appreciate the instant karma. And I promise I did not, when I picked the list of my shows, I intentionally picked things that were bad. Okay? You still haven't rolled the worst. I put the worst anime I've ever seen in my life
Oh
on
my
my list.
god! Why did you
I
do
want
this?
to roll.
I picked things
So
that I
you
thought
have
were like hidden gems, and Jess was like, "Let me give you hidden like turds."
Yes, hidden turds. Absolutely. You're going to hate it if we roll the one that is my least favorite anime of all time. I have watched so much anime in my life. Like,
Why did
oh my
someone ask?
god.
Oh, why
It
did
is
Frinja ask about Monster Musume?
no, Monster Musume is one of my favorites. Are you kidding? And I did not put Monsu on
Oh,
the list because I know Erik has already seen Monsu. So I tried to put things I
yeah.
knew he hadn't seen on there. So yeah, Matsu is not
All
even
right.
close to the worst anime I have ever seen. Like,
Yeah,
not even a
Monster
little.
actually isn't bad. It's
I was
not
gonna
bad.
say Matsu's like easily top. I don't know, 5 or 6 of booby animes I've ever seen, and I've watched a lot of booby animes. You know what was really disappointing? Queen's Blade. I really wanted to like Queen's Blade, and I did not. I thought it was terrible.
I think I saw
But
episode 1, and I was like, "Nah, I'm good."
you didn't miss anything. If you want to watch a good booby anime, you should watch Sekirei or Koihime Muso. Not a lot of people watch Koihime Muso. I really liked it. Mansu is a good booby anime. You know. I never watched Quasar. That's the one with the breast milk, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
watched.
one's that one has a lot of there's a lot of things to say about that one.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we're gonna spin the wheel. Are you ready to spin the wheel?
All right, let's see what we got.
All right, we've gone through a lot, so I might have to spin it a couple of times to get to one we haven't done yet. Where's my pen? 12. Miss Vampire Who Lives in My Neighborhood. Where's that? Is that on
Okay,
Verve?
that was on Crunchyroll and Verb. I like that show.
All right. It is an Erik show this week, so if it's terrible, I'm gonna blame him.
No, my shows are not terrible. My shows are never they're never terrible.
You're actually I Am Vampire Show was a little boring, I'll be honest. I tried to give it like a good 2 or 3 episodes, and I thought it was a little boring.
Boring, but not bad.
Yeah, well, boring is uninteresting. I needed to be really good or really bad. Like, I want to see the worst anime you've ever seen, okay? Mine's on here.
Honestly,
Actually, I have another movie.
I don't dislike a lot of shows. Honestly, I don't actually dislike a lot of anime. I hardly ever drop shows intentionally, I think.
Well, you get through a lot of crap, but you know, I've been thinking about restarting Air. I haven't watched Air in a long time, and I really liked it, and I kind of want to go back.
That's the one key show I didn't watch. Yeah, I didn't watch Air, but I watched Claynad and
You watched Canon and you didn't watch Air?
Yeah, Claynad and Canon, but I didn't watch Air.
You should watch Air instead of Canon.
Canon wasn't bad. The new Canon. There was like 2 versions of Canon.
Yeah, there were. Yeah, I watched the old one, but yeah. I don't know.
All right. So next we gotta watch Vampire.
Yeah, we gotta watch Vampire Who Lives in My Neighborhood. I'm excited about it. I hope we actually get to roll Dear Brother at some point, because I've just been watching Dear Brother while I'm on the treadmill, and I'm on episode 15. So Dear Brother's not bad. It's bad in a different way. So you're gonna watch Dear Brother, and it's not problematic.
How many shows do we have? How many shows do we have on the list combined?
12.
How many did I pick? Okay, so I guess we
We
have to watch all of them.
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna get
Oh,
there, man. We're gonna get there.
we're
Don't
going to get
worry.
there.
You haven't even gotten to the worst one yet. Like Dear Brother was my pick of something that's actually pretty good. Everything else on my list is.
I don't believe you.
I mean, it's no
All
Rose
right.
of Versailles, but it feels like Rose of Versailles. So. All right, thank you all for joining us. We'll be back next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and maybe Yashahime won't be the worst thing on the docket, but you know what? Don't hold
Probably
your
will.
breath.
Don't hold your breath. All right.
All right,
I gotta go
see you
watch all the
guys.
shows that came out today. See y'all.
Bye.